In the beginning, there was only Eden. Not just a place, but a state of being, a seamless fusion of light, life, and peace. Imagine air so pure it tasted of honey, sunlight so gentle it was always dawn. The world was a symphony of creation, the mighty lion resting alongside the gentle lamb, the sound of the waterfall a constant, soothing rhythm. Adam and Eve walked through creation as sovereigns, utterly innocent, utterly whole. But that wholeness was fragile, built on trust and ignorance. The whisper of the serpent, the blinding allure of the fruit, the cold knowledge that followed. In a single, catastrophic bite, perfection was shattered. Shame, like a physical cloak, fell upon them, followed by the terrifying sight of the flaming sword, marking the final boundary between paradise and the harsh reality of exile. 130 years has passed in the forest east of Eden. The world had become a vast, unforgiving forge. The memory of Eden was not a comfort, but a constant, brutal measure of their failure. The soil here was stubborn, the sun harsh. This was humanity's crucible, and Adam and Eve, now ancient but bearing the visible weight of time and sorrow, watched their settlement struggle. It was a collection of mud-brick dwellings, clustered defensively around a central fire, a desperate, defiant little haven against the cold indifference of the world. The deep scar in their history was Cain and Abel. After the first murder, Adam believed their line was cursed. But then came Seth. Seth, now a rugged man of 25, was their hope, and perhaps their last chance at peace. He carried the legacy of both brothers in his frame. He trained relentlessly with a wooden staff, his movements a blend of Cain's raw power and Abel's fluid control. Adam, watching from the shade, saw the ghost of Cain in every powerful strike. He pressed Seth harder, needing to ensure that Seth's spirit, unlike Cain's, would not break under the weight of expectation. Seth's intensity was a mirror of his own guilt. He possessed his brother's strength, yet retained a heart that yearned for justice and balance, qualities Adam had failed to foster in his firstborn. Seth was respected in the village, a quiet leader whose authority came from character, not decree. But he remained solitary, burdened by a sense of responsibility no one else understood. He was the protector of the old ways, the keeper of the fragile peace. This peace was challenged daily. One afternoon, he found a scene of immediate injustice. Two aggressive settlers attempting to claim a shared stream, bullying a young woman named Azura. Azura was a wildfire of spirit and defiance. She was self-sufficient, fiercely intelligent, and refused to be dismissed. She carried her father's legacy, a man who taught her the measure of humanity was not blood, but choice. Their eyes met over the disputed stream, a spark of mutual recognition passing between them. Seth's intervention was quiet, but absolute. He used his strength to uphold fairness, not to claim dominance. The connection between them deepened rapidly, built on shared philosophy rather than easy affection. Azura was the only person who seemed to see Seth himself, rather than the shadow of Cain or the hope of Adam. Their budding relationship was cut short by the intrusion of the future. Tracking deer in the forest, Seth heard voices, men with scarred faces and strange markings. They were Cain's envoys, come to demand Azura join their master. The name Cain was a physical blow to Seth. The strangers, recognizing Seth as the brother, delivered a chilling message. Cain forgives him for being the favorite. Cain had moved on, built a city, a real city, while they still scratched in the dirt. Cain is inviting capable hands to Enoch, framing his action not as murder, but as strength. Seth was consumed. He had spent his life defined by the twin tragedies of his brothers. He realized he needed to see what hatred and ambition truly build. He needed to confront the monster to know if he, too, was doomed to become one. Azura was horrified, but Seth appealed to her strength and intelligence, confessing his trust in her above all others. Their shared resolve was forged in fire. Back at their dwelling, Adam was pissed at Seth for even considering going to see what Cain has built. Eve's grief was ancient. Seth confronted them, asking if they had simply given up on Cain. The accusation hung heavy. They had prayed for forgiveness, but they had never sought connection. Seth declared his choice, to seek the truth, to break the cycle. The journey to Enoch was long, marked by hardship and deepening intimacy. They shared stories by firelight, Asherah revealing the wisdom of her father, the humanity's curse of forgetting they were family. Seth confessed the crushing weight of his legacy. He saw in Asherah the possibility of a pure future, unburdened by the shame of the garden. When they crested the hill and saw the city of Enoch, its sight arrested them. It was a magnificent sprawl of organized ambition, a testament to human will. Inside the city, the air vibrated with purpose. Cain, the Builder King, met them in a grand hall, descending from his platform with a slow, deliberate majesty. The scene was prolonged, a dance of intimidation and tentative yearning. Cain was all charisma, but the mark on his forehead was an open wound. Cain offered a philosophical justification for his crime. He felt judged, cursed, and cast out. He argued that God favored the weak, while he favored strength and ingenuity. He led them on a grand tour, detailing his achievements: metalworking, complex irrigation, even schools where all children, even girls, learned to read. Cain showed them his temple of humanity, where the worship was directed not toward the absentee God, but toward mankind's own capacity for greatness. He presented a powerful, dangerous truth. Humanity had built wonders despite the garden, despite the curse. The temptation was real. Cain offered Seth the crown, the chance to purify the city and lead it with true righteousness. But Seth knew he couldn't accept the foundation. Asherah became frantic. She saw Seth softening, rationalizing. She demanded to know the cost of the compromise. Seth, confused and overwhelmed, finally let slip the words he was terrified of: "Because I love you." Asherah threw the choice back to him. Love meant choosing better, not just for her, but for his own soul. Cain appeared to Seth one last time on the city walls, speaking not as a king, but as a broken brother. He confessed his unending regret for Abel, admitting his building spree was a distraction from a guilt that consumed him. Cain urged Seth to choose love, not fear, reinforcing Asherah's truth. At dawn, Seth made his final commitment to Asherah. He was not staying. He chose to build something honest, not magnificent. Their departure was shattered by the roar of rebellion. The city of Enoch, built on violence, now consumed itself in fire and chaos. Amidst the violence, Asherah spotted a child, and Seth moved to protect them. Cain fought his way through the chaos, urging them to escape. Seth begged him to come, but Cain was resolute. In a tragic, final moment of redemption, Cain pushed Seth aside, taking a fatal blow intended for his brother. He died in Seth's arms, whispering a desperate apology for everything, the mark of God now sealed by the ultimate act of fraternal love. Seth and Asherah fled, leading a desperate throng of refugees away from the burning ruin. Cain had made his choice. Now Seth had to make his. He looked at the tired, scared faces following him. They needed a leader. They needed a home built not on tyranny, but on truth. A year later, their new settlement flourished. It was modest, built with clean hands and shared effort, a true community. Asherah was visibly pregnant. Adam and Eve, now visibly aging but radiating a profound peace, gave their final counsel. They acknowledged the shame of the garden and the error of their parenting that pitted their first two sons against one another. They pleaded with Seth to break the cycle. Don't burden them with the garden. Don't make them earn love. Just love them. All of them. Unconditionally. Looking out over their new home at sunset, Seth and Asherah embraced. Seth vowed to tell his child the whole truth, about Abel's kindness, about Cain's brilliance and his final act of love. He would tell them that their mother was the bravest person he ever knew, and that their father, a simple man, tried his best. That night, as the first stars appeared above the new settlement, Seth fell into a deep sleep, exhausted but at peace. In his dreams, the overwhelming darkness of the wilderness lifted, replaced by a radiant light that carried no heat, only certainty. A voice, profound yet gentle, resonated not in his ears, but in the deepest part of his being. The voice was that of God, and he spoke directly to Seth. If you call on me, I will answer you and show you great and mighty things that you do not know. Seth woke before dawn, the words echoing in his soul. They were a gift, a promise of presence in a world that had felt silent for so long. From that time forward, Seth did not wait for perfection to return, he simply called. He began to call unto God daily, leading his family and his community to worship the Eternal. This was the true beginning of a new way, a way of faith and communion. And Seth lived 105 years and became the father of Enosh. This is the story of beginnings. Not of perfection lost, but of humanity found. It is the story of Seth, son of Adam, brother of Cain and Abel, husband to Asherah, father of the future. He chose love, and in return he was given connection. And still choosing love. Every single day. If this video has blessed you, like it to help YouTube recommend to others. Subscribe to Kingdom Decrees for more of these videos. Turn on notification to know when we publish new videos.